The question we get from candidates quite a bit is, what's the best way for me to negotiate my salary? And some very basic negotiation techniques apply, whether you're negotiating your salary or anything else. The challenge is, when I'm negotiating my salary, it's very personal to me, and therefore it's much harder and much more likely to make a mistake than if I'm negotiating for a car or a refrigerator, which is much less personal, right? When I get into my salary, my self-worth, and all those things are tied up in that. But the answer is very simple, actually. In any negotiation, the person who first puts forth a number usually loses. So you don't want to be the first person to put forth a number. Now, if the employer or potential employer asks you what you were making, what are you making, or what did you make at any point in time in your history, share it with them. Be accurate. Do not exaggerate it by 10%, hoping that you can get a bump from there. It is far too easy in this day and age to check and verify exactly what you are making. And most employers do now ask for compensation verification. So what you want to do when they ask, what is it you're looking for this opportunity? What are your salary expectations for your next step? What does a good offer look like for you? Any of those questions. The answer is really simple. I'm only looking for what's fair based on my experience and background and the challenges of the role. And then don't say a word. I mean, when you're looking to take your next step, right? And I don't care if you're at a manager level looking to go to director or at an EVP level looking to go to CMO. The reality is you're going to get up every day and go work in this environment. And the most important thing is that you're excited about doing that. Now, most people don't want to go do that for free, so there is an expectation of compensation. But even the most well-paid job, if you don't really love what you're doing, is going to get old very quickly. So now, as we say, make sure that whoever's offering the opportunity expresses that offer first as far as what the next step is. Then you have the opportunity to go back, if it's not something that meets your expectation, and ask for more, right? So typically what we find is that if you are a local candidate, right, a candidate that is not going to require relocation, the bump you're going to receive from going from company A to company B is typically around 10%, might be a little more. If you can get 15%, you're doing great. If they are asking you to relocate, that is additional complication for you, additional complication for your family. You got to go through a lot of pain to do that. In that case, we are seeing more 15% increase from where you were to where you're going to be. So there is a lot of information out on the internet about what salary should be, right? And what salary guides are, or what salary is for this industry or for this organization. And the reality is, we have found them to be unreliable. And the other reality is, it doesn't matter all that much, because the only thing that matters is your career and how to move yourself forward as much as possible. And you want to take a step forward both from an experience perspective and a step forward from a compensation perspective every time you make a move. What you don't want to do is worry about how does that compare to who else is in this role, or how does that compare to anything else, because you're coming at it from your unique perspective, and as long as you're growing, that's the most important part. Outside of the main factors of compensation, right? Main factors of compensation are what's my base salary, what's my bonus, and what's my stock or long-term incentive if there is any offered with this position, right? Then you get into the smaller kind of pieces of the puzzle, like paid time off, signing bonus, things that are important but probably not make or break to you taking a job or not taking a job, right? And certain things you can't negotiate. You can't negotiate healthcare. You're not going to get a better package than the person coming in next to you. You really can't negotiate for the match on the 401k. That's set across the organization. It is what it is. The things you can negotiate that are smaller items are paid time off. Typically there's some flexibility and some wiggle room on that. If they're offering you 2 weeks, you're not going to get 5, but you might get 3. And most organizations have some flexibility for a sign-on bonus, And really, the amount of that sign-on bonus varies a lot based on your level in the organization, but it's always okay to ask. The other thing we run across from time to time is we have a candidate get a counteroffer, right? And this is very simple. Don't take it. There was a reason why you were looking to leave in the first place. There's a reason why you chose to go specifically to the employer that you accepted an opportunity with. And you need to go ahead and follow through on that commitment that you've made. Counteroffers are made as a reaction to you leaving and a fear about what's not going to get done because you're not there. It's not a proactive step to help you grow your career. It's not something that they thought was the right thing to do for you until you said you were going to leave. And if you accept the counteroffer, there will always be that question of, is this individual looking, are they someone who can stay, is going to stay with this organization? And it really negatively impacts your ability to get promoted going forward. The other thing we find, and there's plenty of research out there on this, is that well over 90% of candidates who accept a counteroffer, well over 90% of people who accept a counteroffer are not with the firm that they took the counteroffer from within 12 to 18 months. And that's because your loyalty is always in question and you're never looked at the same way again. You actually are better off leaving the organization and coming back years later, in which case no one will ever question anything, than you are staying there through a counteroffer.